G'day and welcome to Deno MAW. Today we are back in Kerbal space program where I am trying to make some sort of return shuttle that could bring astronauts back from a space station in orbit. Now the reason I want to do a shuttle is mostly because I want to have some sort of ability to choose where I'm landing instead of using a capsule. So let's get started by going to the hangar and then we'll try and figure out what to build. Now it's going to have to be incredibly light and small. I wanted to carry the same amount of people as a normal capsule, so for that reason we need a capacity of 3. This capsule only has a capacity of 1 that has 2, but this one is smaller. The idea being I want this thing to sort of fit under a fairing on a rocket that's launched. That way we don't have to worry about some sort of shuttle stack and we can just, make it from there. So we need a capsule first of all. We're going to need a docking port, so we'll go the inline clampetron. So we'll stick that on there. Then we're going to need the crew cabin, so we'll stick that on there. As you can see, this has a capacity for 2, so there's our 3 Kerbals. Now we just need to decide on what sort of power plant. Now, because this is going to already be in orbit, we just need something that can get it out of orbit and bring it down to a hopefully safe landing. So we don't really want big heavy engines for this because that would be too much. I mean, we'll be having a separate engine attached to this when it's in orbit, but that of course isn't going to be attached when it comes for landing. So let's decide what we're going to do. Well, I think we've got these engines. If I go to the, well, it's engines there. We've got these engines. They're monopropellant. They're not particularly powerful, as you can see there, but they do work on monoprop instead of fuel oxidizer, so they're a bit better in that we're going to need monoprop on this anyway for docking. So the question remains of where I can put this, because if we go to fuel tanks, we've got really big one, then we got that one which is really small, and then this one which is the one we want to use. So sticking one on there maybe won't be enough, so we might need 2, but I'm not sure. Because again, I'm trying to keep the weight down. If we look down here, the mass is 3.7 tons at the moment. So let's try and keep that down. Let's go back to our engines. Monoprop. I'm not sure we can get away with 2. Hopefully we can. So I'm just gonna get the symmetry snap. Oh, I can just leave it on mirror. There we go. We'll stick them on like that. Now the reason I also want to do these is because then that leaves this spot to actually attach, a decoupler down the line, which we need to be able to launch this thing. So there's our engines, as kind of pathetic looking as they are. Hatch obstructed is apparently this, but we can get them out anyway, so that's not a big deal. What else do we need? Oh, we obviously need wings, so let's go to the aerodynamics. I want a small wing, but I don't know if we've got any decently small wings, because, well, those are a bit too small. Those would be nice, but they sort of stick out the wrong way. Does the A-wings work? They do, so let's just try and stick them as close to the bottom as possible. That is not at all level, that's annoying. Let's try and get them level. There we go. Let's attach some control surfaces. We'll probably want some fairly decently sized control surfaces on this. Let's turn the snap back on just so we can try and get them in the right spot. When I eventually find the right rotation, if I can find it, come on, there we go. Whoop, so stick them on, and we'll set them to not do yaw, because we'll have separate controls for that. Let's bring up our center of mass, center of lift, because those are always useful. Now we need to put some winglets on for stability. What do I want to do for them? I could do these. I usually use these a lot, but I think they might be too much control surface area, so where's the smaller one? I know it exists somewhere, but I always can never find it. Is it on the next page? No, that's the other one. Is it up here somewhere? Oh, there it is. Delta Deluxe. That's the one. I don't know why I always have difficulty spotting that one. It's not like it's that hard. But yeah, if I set something like that, because I'm trying to minimize the size of the fairing that will need to go on this, so that's why in a second, or now rather I can do it, I'm going to shrink these wings in a little, try and make them take up less space, you see, so the profile is looking a bit slimmer, And I'm also going to give them a slight rotation up. That should help with keeping the nose up, hopefully. Now we're obviously going to need to bring this in a little bit more, so we'll just bring them in like that. Does that obscure the hatch? I think that does. No, that hatch is fine, so I don't know, we'll see, we'll test that out. If the guy can get out, then we're good. If he can't, then we've got a problem. So that puts us there. We need landing gear. So let's stick just the small landing gear, that'll be fine. Put the snap back on. I always hit the wrong buttons because I'm a bit of a fat finger on the keyboard. Let's see, we just need 2. Let's stick them on. There we go. Oh, they're completely offset, so let's just stick them there. Actually, let's stick them as far out as possible so we got more stability. That's gonna push this further back, but we're not done yet. Because I want to, if we go back to aerodynamics, we need to kind of have something to keep the nose up when we're coming in for landing. So if I stick them on the front, just sort of level like that, I wonder if that'll be enough to lift the nose up. It does push this further forward, but we're going to use this monoprop, so that pushes that back to there. Of which, actually, I need to check where are we going to put the reaction thrusters, because obviously this needs to be able to dock. So we'll stick these on, and the best spot is probably going to be one there. So let's stick 4 there, and we want to try and make the distance roughly the same, so we can do 4 there. That's not quite the same, but it'll do. So we've got RCS in nice locations, hopefully, and we've got our aerodynamics all set up. Let's just actually make sure these are only doing the yaw. There we go. Do we need anything else? It might be handy to have parachutes, actually. So let's turn off the monoprop here and here, because we're going to take this as if it's actually landing. And so the center of mass is there, so we need to find parachutes we can fit in that spot. The radials will work, just stick them sort of there, really. I mean, that's going to look weird, because when the docking port opens, it's just going to go right through them, isn't it? Yeah, that's... Maybe I can stick them down here, like that. That might work. Looks a bit weird, but that might work, so we'll close that up. There we go. That could actually be moved further back, but that doesn't matter. Let's put the monoprop back in. Make sure that's all set up. Make sure our staging is correct, because that's wrong at the moment. And yeah, let's just think of a name to call this. I don't know. Return Shuttle Test. Very literal in my naming, but I will come up with something better, hopefully, when it comes to actually flying this thing. So we'll launch it, and hopefully we will fly when it loads. There we go. So it looks nice and small. Let's see, let's get power up, throttle, let's watch our monoprop, and hopefully we've got enough power, because these aren't actually supposed to lift us off the surface. But if they can do that, then we're good. They're accelerating us okay. I'm not sure what speed to lift up at. It seems... yeah, 52 it starts to go, so there we go. 52 meters a second is where we want to try and keep the speed above when landing, so that we can lift the nose up. Yep, our monoprop is going down quick, but I'm not too surprised by that. Electric charge is going to be an issue. We need to figure out some way to resolve that. I mean, I could stick a battery in this maybe. I'm not sure if anything else I could do in there, like maybe stick some sort of recharger. Anyway, let's cut the power, put the gear down. Let's see if we can glide this in, try and keep it above 50. The nose is dropping. We're getting low, so let's flare a bit. Come on, can we do this? Oh, bit of a 3-point landing, but that worked. So that is seemingly controllable. I mean, I'll have to actually test this in a return. But let's try and do something about our electric charge before we call it a day. So let's go back to the spaceplane hangar and try and figure out where we can put a battery. Because if we look at the batteries, we've got just, oh, when I get to them, we've got these battery packs and these inline ones. Now the mass isn't too different, so I could just go on and stick one of these on, like that, but I'm not sure if I want to do that or not, because that may upset some things, it might not. How much charge do they give? They do give 1,000 charge, so it might be worth doing. Or how much charge do we actually have at the moment? Do we have anything that says? No? Do we just have from here? So we just got 50 in that, so we don't have a lot. Is there anything we can do to increase that? Otherwise, I could cheat and clip something in, but I don't really want to do that. So let's just drag this out and stick a battery there. Does that upset our mass at all? I don't think so. No, that looks fine. And then these panels, will they work at all? I'm not sure, they seem to get pretty hot. So, but we can try them anyway. Let's... Actually, can we open that and put them inside there maybe? So if we stick two in like that and then close that up, like that. Oh, they go on the outside, I was going to say, because that could work open alright. Because they sit in and flush under there, but then when that closes, they're on the outside. I don't know, I'm just going to leave them like that, just see how that works, and save it again. And just test it to make sure we didn't break anything in the process of adding that battery. But yeah, my thinking is with this is when we launch, it'll be on the top of a rocket, so we don't have to worry about power getting off the surface. Keeping its weight down means we won't need as big of a rocket to bring it up, which should also mean, you know, we have a little bit of a booster here. I haven't decided how this is going to maneuver in orbit. I mean, this RCS is, well, it's going to be more efficient in space, so it's not going to be burning as quickly as it is here. But whether I want additional redundancy RCS, I'm not sure, or do I want to have some sort of drop tank, maybe? I could try and figure something out like that. But yeah, let's just do another test, get some speed up. Obviously we wouldn't be entering like this, so this is maybe not an entirely valid test, but put the gear down, cut the power. Let's see if everything goes to plan. The parachutes are really there more for emergencies, so if I stuff up the approach more than anything. Let's flare, and oh, we're actually hovering pretty well. And touchdown, so let's put the brakes on, and slow down to a stop. So yeah, I think that design actually works. It's small. Let's see if the guy can get out. EVA, yep, he can get out. So he can let go. And I didn't put the brakes on, so that was probably pretty dumb of me. But can he get back on? I don't know. Can he... Whoop, climb. He can climb. So he can climb up that. Whoops. Stay on. Oh, he fell off. Come on, can you get back on there? Can he get onto the ladder at all? There's no ladder, but can he get onto that? No, there doesn't seem to be a hit point or anything there, so let's try and get on again. Nope, he doesn't want to get on. So, yeah, that's our return shuttle. We're gonna need to put a ladder on it, I think. That might be a bit useful. And so I'll do another video after this one, where I will be continuing to build out this system by actually making the rocket that will launch it. And then we will hopefully at the end be able to do a complete mission to my space station, which is kind of sitting up there somewhere in need of help. But yes, until then, I'm Denodon, this is Kerbal Space Program, safe landings.